What up, and welcome in to a Wednesday edition of Locked On NFL. I have a take about Tom Brady and the Patriots that's going to blow Tony Wiggins' mind. It's going to blow your mind. Plus, what's going on with Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich, and how the 3-4 start for the Buccaneers could impact them, and our Week 8 power rankings.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, and welcome in to a Wednesday edition of Locked On NFL. He's Tony Wiggins. I'm James Rapien, back and better than ever as we enter Week 8 of the NFL season. Thank you so much for making us your first listen, and please subscribe on YouTube or check out Locked On NFL wherever you get your podcasts and follow us there. And Tony, we have a lot to get to, but I got to give you your due. Because you said that the Buccaneers and Tom Brady weren't going to work this year. You from the get-go. As wrong as you were about the Saints, but as wrong as you were about the Saints, you've been right about the Buccaneers at 3-4. I would have lost my house on them losing to the Panthers straight up on Sunday, and yet here we are, the 3-4 Buccaneers. So before I get to my take that's going to blow your mind, I just want to give you your due because I think you deserve that credit.
Well, I thank you very much for doing that because you definitely give me a hard time about all those other things. So I'm definitely happy though that you decided to say that. I was shocked by them losing the other day too. So, and that led to some things being said, some things that I kind of took an issue with, and we'll talk about that in segment 2.
Yeah, and we'll get to that with Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles and everything there. But let's start with an idea I had this morning, and admittedly, it's tied to Monday Night Football when it was Zappy Hour and it was Mac Jones getting booed at Gillette, and it was Justin Fields looking pretty good, running all over and throwing it all over.
What time did you DM
the
me?
New
Was
England
it 6?
Patriots?
Was it 6 a.m.? Well, I don't know what time, but whatever. I know you're happy about it, and this is just for clarity.
Mm-hmm.
We do pre-show. I don't know what he's about to say, but all I can tell you is I don't know what time it was, but it was about the earliest he's ever DM'd me and told me what we were going to talk about in segment 1. So
yeah, I was getting that morning workout in, and I'm like, man, I got to tell you that I already have topic A.
Yes, sir.
I already have topic A, and topic A is very, very simple. Look, sometimes, Tony, you've seen that. You've seen The Wizard of Oz, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no place like home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I look at Tampa Bay and their struggles, and I think it was Bill Simmons who said that, and I'm obviously not reporting this, but I'm pretty sure he said on his podcast that the divorce was finalized between Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen. I'm not sure if it is, but, just mentioning that part of it because that's been very public this season. Buccaneers fall to 3-4. And yeah, they're in first place, but does it really feel like they're a contender? And maybe you could say they could turn it around. But you know where the best place for Tom Brady is? With the trade deadline less than a week away, depending on when you listen to this, or a week away if you're listening on Tuesday night. But it's probably Wednesday, so less than a week away.
I'm coming home.
It's not Zappy Hour. It's not mac and cheese with Bill Belichick.
Ooh.
It's the New England Patriots doing what they should do because they can still salvage this season at 3-4 because I think that's a really, really good defense. I think they have talented running backs. And I think they could win this season if they actually had a quarterback that could get Tyquan Thornton the ball, that could utilize Jonnu Smith to his full potential, that could get the most out of Hunter Henry and Ramondre Stevenson, and the list goes on and on. Not that the Patriots have a ton of weapons because there's a second part to my plan here, but absolutely 100% positively, Bill Belichick needs to put his ego to the side. Tom Brady needs to put his ego to the side. And we know how backdoor deals happen all the time in the NFL. There was all those rumblings about Miami and Brady. It's time to go home. It's time to go to New England where the infrastructure is there, where everything is in place for you, Tom, to be what you are. Because here's the thing, is he's a creature of habit. And I think part of the struggles this year are all of that support system hasn't been there. Why? Because there's been the personal stuff and it's a new head coach. And, it just, the offensive line is what it is. Like all of those things combined around you, you have new faces on the offensive line. You've got receivers in and out of the lineup. It's hard. It's hard to overcome. And so to me, clearly the Patriots need Tom Brady. He's still playing okay if you look at his numbers. Not great. I'm not saying that because he's certainly part of the problem. Go back there. Go back to the infrastructure. You already got your Super Bowl without him. I think the Patriots should absolutely call the Buccaneers. And I'm not saying the Buccaneers would do it and try to trade for Tom Brady. And why would you do it if you're the Buccaneers? Pretty simple. You look at the league. You say, we're not winning a Super Bowl this year. Let's get some future assets and let's revamp, retool as we move forward. Your initial reaction to my thought that Tom Brady in New England before the trade deadline would make a lot of sense for both sides.
My initial reaction is, wow. And I'm so proud to host this podcast with you because that was totally something I did not expect, but it is absolutely intriguing and it makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to tell you, I've refrained from talking about his divorce, but as a person who's been through that, one thing you want is familiarity. I got a client that's going through it right now, and he's just like, man, everything just feels so new after 18 years. You know what? It makes absolute sense for Tom Brady to get some love and some home cooking. And and the fact that they talked after Brady played up there in Foxborough a couple of years ago, and they cleaned all of that stuff up. You know what? I totally 100% agree with you, and I think it is I think it's the best idea I heard in a long time. The best organic idea I've heard, and I'm glad I told people that I didn't know what you were going to say. That is the absolute best organic idea I've heard in a long time, James. And I wish I had thought of it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wish I had thought of it.
It makes the Buccaneers can reset with Foles and Leftwich. And on the flip side, you get Brady. And you know what else happens when you get Brady? You become instant contenders for the number one receiver that's still available right now. Instant contenders for Odell Beckham Jr. Instant contenders to get a hot commodity that could certainly contribute and help you when it matters most. And that's the part of it, man. I actually think the Patriots are pretty good. They just don't have a quarterback. When you don't have a quarterback, you don't have much. And
I think the Bucs would tip their hat to him and say thank you for bringing us the championship. I mean, he did everything he said he was going to do. So
and what would it cost? A third? A second?
If that.
Mac Jones in a fit? What would it be?
No, if they did Mac Jones, they do it straight up because Brady's so old. And maybe he plays.
Well, I would trade Brady for Mac, or I would trade Mac Jones for Brady right now if I'm New England. If it's just straight up.
And keep Zappy as a dude that maybe you can groom a little bit and don't push him out there. James, that's a fabulous idea, bro. That has legs and is so smart on so many. And here I was after the Jaguars played the Giants this week thinking, what would it be like for Odell to say, you know what? How would it be like if Odell put out New York, I'm coming home, right? So this would trump that story in so many different ways. And damn, that's a real good idea. And I'm going to let that segue into, we can even continue to talk about it a little bit in the second segment, because I'm going to segue into something about Tampa. And the reason why, you mentioned one of the reasons why I thought Tampa would struggle, their offensive line. You mentioned it, and I think for more, and I also think with Bruce Arians going to the sidelines, even if his intentions were good, I think it sort of usurped the authority of Todd Bowles. You know what I'm saying? So that's a wonderful, wonderful idea. And like I said, I don't even think the people in Tampa would be angry, because at this point, Brady, by him going in and out and thinking he's going to retire and not retiring, that's a wonderful, great idea. And it's a great idea right now, mainly because personally, he does need, a little brevity, and he might need a little bit of he might need some love from some familiar people.
I think it could work. I really do. And we're going to get called crazy. I appreciate you agreeing with me. I didn't know. I thought you might shoot it down, but I just
absolutely not. I wanted
I
to
think
just
that
for,
could work.
Just for, I guess podcast 101 or show hosting 101 says that I was supposed to tell you you were an idiot, but I can't do that today. I think you were right. You are spot on. It caught me by surprise, and my response is 100% authentic. I'm actually still sitting here thinking, I thought I had the best topic, and I don't. You do. So
up next, we will get to your best topic, though, because I'm excited to continue this conversation. Brady to New England, I think it should happen, but up next, we'll switch gears and focus a little more on the Bucs coaching staff.
All right, talking about switching people in different places and jobs, there's no better place if you own a business to make sure that you connect with the correct people and the right people, and LinkedIn is that place. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for a small business. Trust me, I've been there. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available, and that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs help you find the right people for your team faster and for free. My daughter was in the Army, was very highly sought after, posted on LinkedIn, and they connected her with a company that she is now gainfully employed at, and everyone's all happy. What you do is go to the LinkedIn and then add your job in the purple hiring frame, hashtag hiring frame, to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified applicants and candidates you want to talk to, and they do it fast. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
And now I got to tell you about bird dogs, because bird dogs are where it's at. They are super comfortable, like that cute little Charmin bear. You know who I'm talking about, right? And whether it's their khakis, whether it's their joggers, whether it's their shorts, they're perfect for any climate. I've been wearing the shorts in Cincinnati because it's still short season for a little bit longer, but it doesn't matter if it's Florida or 10 degrees in New England. And oh yeah, that means Tom Brady can wear bird dogs from the transition, when he makes the transition from Tampa Bay to New England, when he gets traded. Remember, you heard it here first on Locked On NFL. You got to get to birddogs.com right now. Enter promo code Locked On, and they're going to throw in a free Bird Dogs rope hat. That's birddogs.com, promo code Locked On, and boom, free Bird Dogs rope hat will come with your bird dogs. The most comfortable shorts, pants, and sweatpants with built-in liners. You will not take these things off, I promise you. Again, birddogs.com, promo code Locked On.
All right, we thank you for making us your first listen here on Locked On NFL. On a Wednesday, I am Tony Wiggins, along with my buddy James Rapien, who had this great idea that Tom Brady should be traded back and go home to the New England Patriots. That would definitely be the story of the year in the NFL. And just like a few weeks back, we included in one of our segments, New York, New York, and now the Jets and the Bills are taking off. And now everybody's screaming New York, New York. You heard it here on Locked On NFL First. If this happens, I'm going to call James Mr. Omniscient, because it should happen. And like I said I wish I thought of it. No, I'm glad you thought of it, because when you think of it on here, we think of it. So we come up with ideas together. There you go. But yeah, I think it should. And if there's anything else you'd like to put on that, I'm more than willing to listen, since it was your idea.
Yeah, look, I as far as compensation, I'm not sure. Could you go the Mac Jones route? Would you be able to go draft pick route? That's up to them. But there's that part of it. But yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense. I think they would be contenders now. I still think he's capable of doing that. And you just make a call. And you make a call and you see, because this is probably it for Tom this season. Mm-hmm. And so if that's it, if you're the Buccaneers and you look at it and you're like, do we realistically have a shot? Mm-hmm. You're 3-4 right now. Maybe you say, all right, we don't. We're going to go the other route and try to get in and try to find another young quarterback, or just get a young quarterback like Mac Jones, who was benched, but not really, but sort of. And Bill Belichick continues to flirt with that. You know who wouldn't be benched? Tom Brady. And I think it would make a lot of sense for both sides.
You're right. And now that we've talked Brady, we have to talk about the Bucs and their season. And this is what I wanted to hit you on when I hit you up. I said good, because it segues into something that I want to talk about. So it's close to me, it's near and dear to me. When Bruce Arians left, one of the reasons he said that was a good time for him to leave was because he wanted Todd Bowles to get another shot as coach. And once he knew Brady was coming back, that he knew that Todd Bowles would be in a good situation to be able to do that. And a lot of people didn't believe that's why he did it, or whatever. the biggest thing was for me, with me being in Jacksonville and Byron Leftwich, it was reported that he was going to get the job and he did not. We talked about the hiring practices of minorities. And we talked about a lot of times in Power 5 football as well as, well, I don't know if we talked about the Power 5 aspect, but my personal opinion is that a lot of times in Power 5 football, they're giving terrible situations to coach in, and there's no patience. And in the NFL, they're just not given a long enough time frame in order to be able to do what they want to do. There have been numerous occasions where they were given 1 year and were pushed out after one season. The goalpost has consistently changed from taking coordinators from winning teams that win the Super Bowl, a la Eric Bieniemy and Brian Leftwich, to skipping right past them and moving on to not only coordinators, but to position coaches that come from a quote unquote coaching tree that for a lot of those cases never won anything. And it's like that goalpost kept moving. And one of the things that you hear, and this is the point that I want to make, when folks were talking about Eric Bieniemy, you heard people say, well, maybe he's not a great interview. And then you heard people say, well, it's really Andy Reid's offense. He's not calling plays. And you can always come back and refute that and say, you don't know what kind of interview he is. And then the other part of it is, there are a lot of coaches I just mentioned that don't call plays. They get anybody who works for Kyle Shanahan doesn't call plays and they keep getting jobs. Anybody who works for Sean McVay doesn't call plays and they keep getting jobs. So for me, it was constantly excuses. The one thing that I didn't want to happen was that Bowles and Leftwich in a package deal this year, in a year where Brady may decline and he had off the field stuff that he was dealing with and they had injuries on the offensive line, is now people are clamoring for Byron Leftwich and Bowles to both be fired, which would put them off track of getting a job. Eric Bieniemy is not going to get a job, and it looks like it'll never happen. So for me, it was always, I don't want to see that happen to them, even though I think it's going to happen. My question is this: whenever the team wins, how come it's, well, he doesn't really call plays, it's Patrick Mahomes and it's Andy Reid in Kansas City, and now in Tampa, it's all Byron Leftwich's fault. But when they were winning, well, it's Tom Brady. It's his offense. Tom is in control. It's not really Leftwich. My point is this: why, when it goes good, it's always the reason is somebody else, and when it goes bad, it's always those particular coaches.
Sure, I get it. And it's part of it is the classic, the quarterback gets too much credit when you win and takes too much blame when you lose. And sometimes the truth is in the middle. And I think this is one of those times. Scoring 3 points against the Panthers.
Absolutely.
If I was hosting Locked On Bucks, I would have, I'm sure the guys would have absolutely demolished them. That's unacceptable for any NFL team going against the Panthers. Not that the Panthers are bad. I actually like some of their pieces, and that's why there's so many of these guys being mentioned ahead of the trade deadline as potential targets for teams. But come on. That's an absolute joke. So do I think that Byron Leftwich shares some of the blame? Sure, he's the offensive coordinator.
He does.
Do I think Tom Brady needs to look in the mirror too and figure out what the heck is going on with the TB12 method? And maybe that's why a change of scenery makes sense right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why both sides can look at it and go that route. I do. And so I agree with you. What you're saying is you want it to be fair and you want it to be consistent. And the truth is I would say 99% of the time, the truth is somewhere in the middle when it comes to these things. And it is. A lot of it is on Brady and these receivers and this offensive line. And a lot of it's on the coaching staff too. But it isn't just one. It's not like, do I really think, and does anyone really think Bruce Arians leaving at 5 o'clock is leave at 5 o'clock Bruce Arians? Think about it. This guy was on the golf course. This guy was leaving early, all of those things. That's something he's done consistently. It's been talked about. You think he would be fixing it right now? I don't think so. So I think they need to find the answers. But I don't know how to feel about Todd Bowles as a head coach, but better or worse. It's an interesting position to be in, but I don't really have an opinion. And the same thing goes for Byron Leftwich. But to your point, overall, if they completely flame out and continue to go down this road, both of those guys are going to be looked at much differently by the majority of people that aren't looking at it with any nuance, that aren't saying, oh, well, this is a weird position to be in with Brady and that. And so that's the unfortunate part if they continue to go down this road in this path, which is what I think you're saying.
Right. And commentary comes from different people, but sometimes it just feels like the commentary in this situation comes from the same thing, from the same folks who are saying the same thing, and different things in a different way. It's whenever they're winning and they're up for jobs, well, how much do you really trust? Because it's this person that really made him look good as opposed to the other way around. But then all of a sudden when they start losing, all of the blame for the losses go to the guy who wants the job, and nothing goes to the other people that they try to give all the credit to on the other side. We got power rankings coming up here in segment 3. Before that, I have to tell you that we thank you for making Locked On NFL your first listen. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports. Go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts.
But first, a word from Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is a one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy. And it's not daily fantasy that you think of daily fantasy. In fact, my man, Stan the Man, has sent me multiple tickets recently of his daily fantasy winnings with Prize Picks. And what is Prize Picks? Well, you pick 2 to 5 players and you decide if they're going to score more or less than their Prize Pick projections. That's it. You're going with the projection, you're going against the projection, more or less, and 2 to 5, boom. You get those right, you win. It is that simple. And it's not just NFL. It's college football, NBA, soccer, WNBA, esports, Major League Baseball, PGA. The list goes on and on. College hoops when they come back around, boxing, and so much more at Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. So if you deposit $100, you'll get $100 back. If you deposit $50, you'll get an extra $50. Again, use promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100.
Power ranking times here on the Locked On NFL Network. Let's see how much has changed at the top and how much has changed at the bottom. 1 through 5, James, the Buffalo Bills take the number 1 spot. The Philadelphia Eagles are number 2. The Chiefs are number 3 after dominating performance in the Bay versus San Francisco. Your Bengals are rightfully back where they're supposed to be at number 4. The Minnesota Vikings sit at number 5.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised the Bengals moved up to 4, to be honest with you. I certainly think their potential is to be in that class of teams, but I need to see a little bit more, at 4 and 3. But I think that it has to do, and these rankings are tough every week because they're just where the league is. A lot of mediocre, and so we'll see what happens here. But like the Giants, for example, how good are they? And I'm not knocking you, New York. You're clearly good, and I think you're probably playoff bound. But how good are they? Clearly, some of us aren't sure about them in the network, as they're 6th on the power rankings, followed by the Ravens at 7, Cowboys at 8, Jets at 9, Titans at 10, and I'll just take it through 15. The Chargers fall all the way to 11. The 49ers are 12th, Rams 13th, Seahawks moving up to 14th, and the Dolphins make a leap to 15th.
The Chargers had 2 losses, one to the Jags and one to the Seahawks at home, where they got smoked. I just think that with them, they're the most Jekyll and Hyde team in terms of the good teams in the NFL, the most Jekyll and Hyde team right now. And I think Staley has to start watching his back a little bit and try to figure out. That's one of those little fighter pilots I'm talking about. They get a job maybe before they're supposed to. Let's go to the
Sean Payton season. Go ahead.
Yep, you're right. Let's go to the aforementioned Bucks at 16. Arizona at 17. The Packers can't figure out what's going on up there at 18. The Raiders are starting to make a little bit of a run and be what everyone thought at 19. The Saints sit at 20. The Patriots are 21st. Finishing up here, the Falcons at 22. The Commanders at 23. The Bears. You know what? I got to salute the Bears. Shout out to Lauren Cox of Locked On Bears. They're doing whatever they got. They're like the Giants, but they got off to a slower start. The Browns at 25. The Jaguars at 26. The Steelers at 27, still the biggest surprise in my opinion. The Colts are 28, Denver 29th, Carolina 30th, the Lions 31st, and the Texans are 32nd.
Yeah, to me, not many surprises on this, but I'm just going to double down now. The Patriots, the final team in that second tier at 21st. You make a move like that, it completely changes it. I just said it was pretty open, and that's probably why the Bucs would say, "Nah, it's still open. We can make this work." But you look at it, there don't seem to be many contending teams. And look at it, the Falcons, they were 17th last week, fall all the way to 22nd. The Commanders were 30th. Now they move up to 23rd. The problem is, Tony, there's no consensus and there's no middle tier. Everybody seems to be in the middle tier outside of a few teams at the top and a few teams at the bottom. And it's a pretty big middle tier right now in the NFL.
Two things that I noticed.
Yep.
Seattle and Denver. Seattle has Denver's number 1 pick next year. Who would have thunk? And I know that's not the right word, but that's the one I'm going to use. Who would have thunk that
not me
that of their 2 first-round picks, their own pick would be the one that's trending towards being a playoff pick, and Denver's pick is looking like a top 5 pick. And you'd have thought, in Seattle, what are you doing? Don't win. Don't tank, but don't win too much. No, that's all right. Denver got us covered. We'll still have a top 5 pick. And the other thing about this list is,
let's ride.
When you look at Russell Wilson, the other thing is, when you look at this list, a little caveat to the Dolphins. They got Tua back and they look totally different, and they're sitting at 16th. They're better than that with him healthy. At 16, with him in the lineup. And remember, they were playing with their 3rd string quarterback. With him in the lineup, you have to give a little asterisk to them and say they're 16th only because of some stuff that happened, but they ain't the 16th best team. They need to be in the top 10 too, and that's another team that's going to be tough for people to beat as long as he can stay upright.
And that's why, and I'm just going to we're going to start it we're going to end it where we started. Do you really want to have the 4th best quarterback in the AFC East?
No.
Because that's what the Patriots have right now. And don't come at me with Zach Wilson, because he's playing pretty well right now.
Yeah, Zach is playing well. Good show today, man. We appreciate you guys joining us, making us your first listen here on Wednesday. Make sure you tune in every single day, because Locked On NFL bring you different hosts, but same consistency, same good flavor, and you'll get that here. Make sure you like and subscribe. And remember, we are free on all platforms, and we thank you for joining us. Do what we always say here. Take care of each other, and we'll see you next time.